Howdy gamers, old gamer guy here. Bannerlord is a game I've been looking forward to for quite a while. It has a sandbox mode and custom battles and multiplayer, but what we're going to look at here today is the very beginning of the campaign. This is almost exactly an hour of gameplay, highly edited, and I'm not going to show every single menu or talk about every single aspect of the game, but I will show what happened in my first hour of play, and toward the end of the video talk about just my impressions of the game so far. So without further ado, let's get to it. There's an opening video that describes the basic situation. The Calradian Empire has dominated for a long time, but they have just gone through a civil war, and as a consequence they have now split into, I think, 3 different empires, and all of the rest of the empires on the continent are looking at this unstable situation and saying, hey, this could be our time to dominate. So war can break out at any time between anyone, and into this unstable situation steps our character. So the first thing we have to do is to choose our culture. Each of these cultures has a couple of bonuses and also a disadvantage. And each of these cultures has a rough equivalent in the real world. So the Empire is essentially the Romans. The Sturgians are essentially the Vikings. I am interested in the Battanians because they have kind of a Braveheart sort of a vibe. So they could be the Scots. They could be the Irish. I have some Irish heritage. So we're going to be the Battanians, and our hero will be bald and bearded because of course he is. Here are my parents, and at this point I have to start answering questions about my background, and you can see down there at the bottom of the screen each of these choices also gives skill levels, focus points, and attribute points. So don't really pay attention to what I am choosing here. I'm not really sure that I'm choosing anything intelligent here. Just keep in mind that each one of these choices will change those stats over there on the left side of the screen. So they will affect you right at the very beginning of the game. As part of the story, we have a brother, and I'll get to that in a minute. First, we can enter our name, and Strum is my go-to fantasy name these days. So I will be Strum the Battanian, and down here you can see all the choices we made and the consequences of those choices. Our final, our most recent exploit is that we subdued a raider, and I'll get back to that in a minute, but here are the options you can change at the beginning of the game. I am leaving all this set on default. We get a quick loading screen, and then we will have a short conversation with our brother. And the situation is our parents have just recently been killed, and our 2 younger siblings, a brother and a sister, have been kidnapped. We have been tracking the kidnappers for 3 days. We have arrived at this training area, and so now I can continue the tutorial or skip it. Over there on the left, you can see all the available tutorials in this area. And you don't have to do all of them. You don't have to do any of them. You can just do the ones you want to do. So just pick a doorway and get to work. I'm not going to show very much of this, but you can run up to a weapon rack and choose how you want to train and get to it. So I guess at this point I should mention the combat. You know, it's I guess you would say it's more simulation oriented. This is not fast and furious God of War type combat. You're not going to feel like a badass at the beginning of the game. So keep that in mind. You can see the tutorials I've done over there in green on the left. But now here we are on the world map. And we are low on food, so our brother is suggesting that we go over here to this village. You can see some refugees from the war over there. So we're starting off in the Southern Empire. Even though we are Botanian, we are starting here in the Southern Empire. This area belongs to the Southern Empire. You can click on the map to tell your people where to go. So we're going to go to this town, and the first thing they want us to do is take a walk around. All of these loading screens are pretty fast. And here we have another short conversation with our brother, and he says we need to buy some food, but also recruit some soldiers, and we need to talk to the head man of the town about those things. So on PlayStation, you can hold L1 and bring up some icons on the screen. So there you can see an icon on my brother. He is an ally. And over there is the head man. There is a first-person mode that I will show you just briefly a little bit later. But I like to walk around and see my magnificent bald head, so I normally play in third-person mode. But here's the head man, and there is my brother's horse's head in the way. So we asked him about our brother and sister, and he doesn't know anything specific, but these people are having problems with local bandits. And so he says if we are going to attack those bandits, that we should talk to him again before we leave. But first, we need to buy some grain. The tutorial wants us to purchase 2 grains. These characters do need to eat, so we have to feed them. And then we need to recruit troops. We can recruit one at a time, or we can recruit all of them at once. And notice those troops are all on horseback. So here at the beginning of the game, we are getting access to some relatively advanced troops. We can talk to the head man again, and we can do that from a menu instead of riding through the town again if we want to. And the head man says that those bandits, he doesn't know if they kidnapped our brother and sister, but they definitely kidnapped a doctor, and we should keep an eye out for that doctor if we're going to go fight some bandits, and we are definitely going to go fight some bandits. So there you can see the bandits are now on the map. 3 groups of 6, and we're going to have to fight all 3 of them to find the doctor. Clicking on the map will tell your people where to go. Clicking on a moving group will make your people follow. We could auto-resolve this battle by sending in the troops, but we're going to attack. And the tutorial wants us to have our people charge using L1, square, and circle. So that's what I'm going to do here. And this is, for the most part, this is going to be the most advanced military tactic you will see in this video. And unfortunately, my combat skills are not going to be the greatest here. I'm going to miss a shot here, and then I'm going to panic and run into a tree. Yeah, so I'm going to edit some of these battles. I'm not going to show the entirety of every battle because you don't really need to see me doing this awkwardly over and over. Just keep an eye, just notice that the backgrounds will change slightly every time because the background of the battle will, or it should reflect the time of day and also where you are on the world map. So there are a bunch of different settings for these battles, which is pretty cool. The graphics look nice. I guess I should say this is in performance mode. There is a quality mode. We could take some prisoners at this point. We could recruit some troops. I'm going to recruit the available troop, and then I'm not going to take prisoners because they will just slow us down and eat our food. So I'm going to let them go for now. Later on, you can throw them into a dungeon. We got some loot, and we're going to equip some of that. And I'm not going to show these after battle menus every time, but after every battle, there's a chance you will get to recruit some troops and take some prisoners and get some loot. All of that might happen. None of that might happen. But never mind that. Here is our second battle. When you're giving orders, the game goes into slow motion. There's some more amazing riding skill on display. But yeah, I told my people to charge, and then I told them to follow me, and now I'm having them charge again. So that right there is officially the most complex military strategy you will see. But we are going to win another battle, and then here we are getting into our third battle. I'll actually get a kill here, so I'm going to show a little bit more of this battle, of course, to show off my kill. You can see my people are pummeling the enemies. And now, oh, sit down. And, oh, arrow to the back. Oh, still not dead. Oh, there he goes. Good work. So you can see once again the background has changed a little bit. It's a different time of day. The game looks nice. It does look nice, even in performance mode. But we won the battle, and we got some more loot, and we rescued some prisoners, including the doctor that we heard about in that little village over there. So he's very grateful, and he tells us about a chest that he had with him that had a valuable artifact in it. So he says if we can recover that chest and that artifact, we can keep the artifact. So he tells us where the hideout is for these bandits. So we're going to go there next, but first we're going to go into town and sell some of this loot because our soldiers not only need food, they also are being paid. So we have to make sure we have enough food and enough money to keep our soldiers happy. And I do mean happy because they have morale. So we're going to sell some of this stuff and buy some grain. But there's another set of menus down here that you can get to with your digital pad. You can manage your party, check your inventory, look at your quest log, and level up your character. So we unlocked a focus point up here. And these are the skills on the left. You spend that focus point down here. And it looks like each point will increase your learning rate. So I'm putting a point into the one-handed weapon category. So when I do start using my one-handed weapon, I will learn at a faster rate. But never mind all that. Let's go attack this hideout. That red mark on the status bar means that we are injured. And if I had a doctor in the party, we would heal faster. But I'll get back to that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and attack this hideout. And the hideout battles are kind of the weak point of the game for me so far. They're not terrible. I just don't think they're going to be as fun as the regular battles. The tutorial wants you to have your people follow you here, but for some reason the little message didn't pop up on my screen. But it's L1, Square, and X on PlayStation to have your people follow you, and they will be my bodyguards as I go through this hideout. They'll attack enemies that get close enough, but as you're about to see, the enemies have to be pretty close for my people to do anything. They'll face the guy with their shields up, but they won't attack until he gets right in their face. But they do take care of that enemy pretty quickly. There's the first-person view right there. I don't see anything to loot here, but maybe I'm just not seeing it. I have not seen any instance where you can run up to a barrel and search a barrel or search a crate. But maybe I just haven't seen that yet in the game so far. But we're going to work our way through this hideout, and I almost sped this footage up because it is a few minutes of video time here, and it's really just the same thing over and over. They call it a hideout, but it seems to me more like a series of individual campsites in a canyon. And I suppose the campsites are close enough to each other that the bandits can yell if there's a problem, but I don't know. I wouldn't call this a hideout, but maybe that's nitpicking. I've played through this a couple of times, and the hideout is always the same. The campsites are always in the same spot, but the enemy placement is random. So we're going to wipe out these bandits here, and I assume the campsite will be empty for a while, and then probably bandits will show up here again eventually. I assume that will happen. This is a sequel to a game called Warband, and a lot of this is very, very similar to Warband. It just looks better graphically. The hideouts were this same kind of a format in Warband. But we are working our way through this quote-unquote hideout, and eventually we will reach the leader of this gang. My combat skills are really lacking at this point. Oh, there's a hit. But we'll have our people finish him off. And when I get to this leader, I will have the opportunity to duel the leader by myself, or I can have my people attack. And I don't think I ever use a one-handed weapon in this footage at all in this video, so I'm just going to have my people attack the guy when that time comes. But first we have to kill one more raider up there. The final regular raider is here. And we get an arrow in him and another arrow, but he's still not dead. And there we go. Our troops finish him off. And here comes the leader. He's kind of an arrogant jerk, as you might expect from a bandit leader. And we're going to ask him about our brother and sister, and he seems like he knows a little something, but he's not being very forthcoming with information. So I could duel him, but he's a slaver, and I have no respect for slavers, so I don't know why I would give a slaver the respect of a duel. I'd rather just have my people put them down like a mad dog. So that's what we did, but he's not dead. We're going to get some loot out of this. But the leader is not dead, and he is still kind of arrogant.
If I'm going to be your captive,
but surprisingly, he is going to travel with us after this conversation. He's going to make some threats about our brother and sister here, like, if we let something happen to this guy, then our brother and sister might be in danger. We recovered the chest that the doctor was talking about, so we have that artifact now. And our brother is talking about splitting up at this point. So he wants to split up. He wants to take all of our troops that we have recruited so far. And I'll get back to that in a minute, but first we need to select our family name. And you can do this at any time. You can change your family name at any time. That's right. My name is Strum a Guitar.
Once I locate the little ones, I'll come find you.
But you can change that family name at any time, and I assume you can also change your banner at any time. But we are designing our banner here. I have a t-shirt actually with this exact symbol on it. I think it's a raven. So we're going to have a white raven on a black background, which of course makes very little sense. But that is perfect for me. But yeah, that's the tutorial. If you skip the tutorial, this is where you are. This is where you start the game. That was the artifact there that the doctor talked about. It's now in our inventory. Here is a look at the overall map. If you zoom out all the way, you can get a better idea of how big a space we're talking about here. The Battanian Empire is there in green, and it looks like I may have chosen poorly because it looks like we have the smallest empire on the map. But if you watch my channel, you know that choosing poorly is kind of an old gamer guy tradition. But never mind that, we are all alone now, which is very dangerous. There's a group of 29 looters right there, so we need to avoid them at all costs. And we need to start recruiting more troops. So our brother took off with those troops on horseback. And we need to start recruiting troops again, but we're not going to get troops that are that good. They're going to be very basic, low-level troops. And then over time, they will get XP, and we can train them to be more advanced troops. Infantry, cavalry, archers. And then later on, when the battles get larger and more complex, you can command those different troop types individually. Those big battles are one of the main selling points for this game, and unfortunately you won't get to see one of those in this video, but I think as soon as I'm done editing this, I'm going to try to make a video showing a custom battle so you can see what a big battle looks like, and I will also probably use that video to show you the difference between performance mode and quality mode. But right now we are continuing our journey toward our homeland of Battania. And we don't have to do this. I could go anywhere at this point. I am Battanian, but I don't have to fight for Battania. But I want to go up here and recruit Battanians and have nothing but Battanians in my army at first. So we'll see how that goes. But right now we are going to recruit a few more troops and then kill those bandits. Actually, I started to ride away and just keep on going, but then I thought, no, these 4 looters right here are an easy target. And I just want to show off these very basic troops just to show you what the difference is. I will be missing my troops on horseback for a while, but you'll be able to see right away that a lot of these people are just using pitchforks for their weaponry. So they are farmers with anger management problems, but that's okay because, like I said, they're going to get XP, and then later on I can train them to be different types of infantry, different types of archers, different types of cavalry. But hey, these angry farmers are going to do okay here. We're going to get another victory. And this time, at the end of the battle, I'm not going to get any loot or prisoners or recruits. We're just going to get a little gold, I think. See here in a minute. We also will gain... Yeah, we gain some renown and we gain some morale. We are injured. I can't remember if we were injured when we got into the battle, but we're going to wait some time here in the town, and that will allow us to heal up. So we're waiting here, we're healing, and now we are healed. So let's continue on to Battania. And I guess at this point I should start to wrap up the video and give my impressions. And long story short, so far so good. I like this a lot. You've probably noticed some textures popping in here and there. You're actually, yeah, that right there, you just saw that happen. But that is honestly the only technical issue that I have run into so far. So hopefully they can patch that, but that is the only thing that I have noticed as a technical issue. Gameplay wise, It is very much like Warband, so if you enjoyed that, you would enjoy this, I'm sure. As I said, the combat is more simulation oriented than it is like an arcade sort of a game. God of War or Devil May Cry, that type of thing. Much more slow and tactical, I guess you'd say. But there's a lot you are not seeing in this video. You can take over towns, you can take over castles, you can recruit people to take over the towns and take over the castles. You can have businesses in the towns, you can have caravans between the towns. Looks like this castle up here is under siege, so the Battanians are apparently already at war with somebody. So that could be a problem, but right now, for the time being, I'm planning to be loyal to the Battanian king, and I'm just going to hang around and kill looters for a while and level up and make some money. I'm not really planning on doing a proper series for this game, but I'll probably post some updates for Strum the Battanian. And like I said, I'm going to make a custom battle video soon. But for now, as always, thanks very much for watching.